Hey you all, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. I'm Sophie, professional makeup artist and esthetician, and today's video is a pretty and rosy Valentine's Day makeup look using a full face of inexpensive and drugstore gems. I think this look will suit all skill levels, face shapes, and skin tones, and it's great if you're on a budget. So if that sounds interesting or helpful to you, then just keep on watching and be sure to subscribe for more educational beauty content from a professional perspective. All right, let's get into it.
Let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna do my foundation first. Whenever I'm working on a client, I 9 times out of 10 will do the eyes first, but I'm gonna be doing a pretty soft eye look today, so I like to do my skin first, and that's just what I'm gonna stick with for today. So I already have moisturizer on, and I am going to start with underpainting my contour because the color I have is a little bit dark, but I really wanted to try this product, and it's the only color they had. So this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter, and this is supposed to be like a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Hollywood Filter. I haven't tried that one. This works really well as a contour for me, actually, because my skin is so dehydrated all the time. I need to drink more water. I'm working on that. But anyways, a glowy product actually makes a good contour for me, even though in general, I recommend a matte contour. And I do have a powder contour that we're going to be using in a second. So have no fear if you don't want to use something like this as a contour. So I sanitized the back of my hand, and I am just going to take a little bit on the back of my hand. That will probably be enough. This product is like weirdly pigmented for what it is, like a glowy liquid highlighty type of product. Like, look how much coverage and pigment that has. So I'm applying this with a very inexpensive blending sponge. This is the Paw blender. It's from Shop Miss A. Their in-house brand, I believe, is AOA Studio, and they make some really fantastic sponges. This one is $1.55. I was not using a mirror, so I kind of blended that a little bit all over. So I just grabbed a mirror, and I am being a little more careful. And this product combined with the dampened sponge is giving me such a beautiful glow. I'm obsessed. Love it. I speak a lot about the Revlon foundation for light olive skin. The shades 150 and 180 are my favorite. So I thought I would talk about something new today, which is the CoverGirl True Blend Hydrating Foundation Smoothing Natural Finish. This is in the shade L6 Buff Beige, which is a little bit dark for me. So I am going to mix it with a full coverage foundation that I have talked about on my channel before. This is the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation by Catrice in the shade 10 Light Beige. This is too light for me, too matte for me. This is hydrating, a little bit more sheer and a little bit darker. So together they're gonna give me a nice medium coverage shade.
Okay, so I'll take a little bit of the Catrice and then a pump of the CoverGirl True Blend, or 2. That is probably way too much foundation, but
here we go.
So then I'm taking a little spatula to kind of mix them together on the back of my hand. This spatula is by Graftobian. I really like it because it's flat and flexible, and I got this on camerareadycosmetics.com. Everything I mention will be either listed or linked down below, and please be aware that the links are affiliate links. Go ahead and wipe some of that off onto my skin, and I'm going to start to blend that out. I'm starting underneath where I contoured just to clean that area up. I'm taking a little bit more on the back of this sponge. Don't take like a huge blob or anything. Now I'm gonna do the center of my face. You can go in with a brush first and then blend it out with the sponge. You're gonna get a more precise application that way. Okay, so actually this is coming out overall a little too dark, but that's okay because the concealers I'm about to go in with are pretty light in color. So I'm going to start off with the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I've talked about this many times on my channel. This is in the shade 110 Nude Ivory. It's like a pink undertone, and I am going to use that right underneath the eyes. And I'm gonna get in the inner corner as well. Because this has a pink tone, it's going to neutralize my under eye darkness, which if you are Mediterranean like me, you will know color correction is necessary. This product is on the older side. I do need a new one. So it is pretty dry and it's going to set on my skin pretty quickly. So I am blending that out straight away instead of letting it sit. Okay, now that my under eyes are feeling nice and bright, I'm looking a little bit Donald Trump-ish, so we need to balance the shapes on the rest of the face. So I'm going to take a concealer that's a little bit lighter than my foundation. This is the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. This is a little bit lower coverage than the Milani, so this is going to be a good highlighting concealer for the rest of my face. So I'm going to take very carefully on the tip of my Paw Paw blender a little bit of that concealer, and I am going to kind of spot brighten with this. I'm applying the majority of that kind of next to the nose and blending it into that Milani concealer, but I'm not applying too much more product right underneath my eyes because that's going to get cakey really quick. I'm going to do the same thing on my forehead. I just brightened the very center. Taking a little bit more, I'm going to reverse contour, so to speak. So I'm just taking that underneath my cheekbone, and you can do this technique anytime your foundation comes out too dark. Taking the back end of the blender sponge and going back over the cheekbone. And my hyperpigmentation is still showing through on my cheeks a little bit. I'm kind of fine with it. Like, I don't want to apply too much more foundation because I just don't like the look of heavy makeup on my skin. And then I'll just take what's left on the back of my hand down a little bit of the center of my nose. I don't like to bring it on the tip of my nose because the tip of my nose hooks when I smile, and I feel like if that area is highlighted, it makes it look more like how I don't like it. Next is a product that is new to me. So this is going to be a little bit of a it's going to be a first impressions of this product. So this is the Blush Bomb Color Drops by Flower Beauty, and it's in the shade Cheeky. So I'm just going to get a little bit onto the back of my hand. Okay, so because it's a moussier texture, I am going to take it on a little concealer brush first. Oh wow, that's like very browny mauve, but you know what? I'm into it. I like this color. I am going to smile and kind of put it like right on the tops of the apples of my cheeks. Ooh. Okay, that looks very, very natural. Like, it looks pretty pigmented when it goes on, but it shears out beautifully. And it's giving me a bit of a dewy finish upon immediate application, but my skin tends to drink up any dew by the time the application is done. So we will see, I will definitely use this on other people and report back, because right away, like, the finish and the color, I just think this would be such a great kit blush. Like, I think this would be so good as a base blush for bridal clients / clients in general. If you're the kind of person who has trouble exercising restraint with blush, I feel like this is extremely forgiving. Okay, so let's move on to some powder products for the complexion. So first, I'm going to go in with the Kimchi Thaler Contour. If you don't know who Kimchi is, she is one of my favorite drag queens. I'll put up a picture if I can find it. I actually met her when I was working at Garden State Plaza Mall, and she asked me if I was a makeup artist, which was so flattering, honestly. She's just like a very talented artist in general, but like specifically an amazing makeup artist. And I do have some other products of hers which I really like. So I was excited to try these cheek products. I got one of the blushes as well. So this is the contour in Tawny. And I believe there's a highlighting shade in here as well. So it is a little bit raised, which leads me to believe that it's a baked product, which I love baked products so much. I will always try baked products. I'm going to use this is not drugstore, my Kitco My Soft Powder Brush. I don't know if I'm counting brushes in this video. I guess I'm not. The e.l.f. blush brush is a really good contour brush that's kind of similar to this. Okay, I just cooled down my lighting a little bit. Actually, I'm weirdly finding this a little bit too warm. I'm gonna have to give this a shot, maybe without that e.l.f. product underneath, but that product is also pretty cool toned. What shade did I use in the e.l.f., by the way? Rich number 8. Anyways, I'm a little confused. This is pulling a little bit warmer than I anticipated. I'm gonna have to really play with this and see. Taking my Real Techniques setting brush, I am going to go into the light powder. Oh, there's a lot of kick up, so just be careful. And I'm going to brighten up a little bit next to my nose. I feel like that's working well, actually, and it looks pretty nice on the skin. It's kind of blurring my pores a little bit. Just clean up my nose contour a little bit. It's working well for that. And then I'll take a little bit down the center of the bridge. I feel like my contour got a little bit patchy, so which for me, unfortunately, happens really quickly, just with the shape of my cheeks as well as my skin tone. I'm gonna clean up a little bit with this powder, which is working pretty well, actually, because it has just kind of the right amount of pigment. Now I'm going to try the Kimchi Chic Thaler blush. It is a duo again, and this is in the shade Cheeky. Oh, and that's cute. The contour has like a matte soft touch finish, and then the blush has like a metallic finish. Super cute. There's a little bit of a cool tone lighter pink on this side, and then on this side a slightly warmer, slightly darker pink. So I'm going to start off with the Sonia Kashuk blush brush, which is kind of fluffy, and it's going to apply, like, you know, in a larger area and a little bit more diffused. So I'm picking up the pinker side, and I'm just gonna smile and go for it. It's very pigmented. I was watching swatch videos before buying, and the woman I was watching was like, oh, that one's not too pigmented. And I'm just a little confused by that statement, but it's blending really well. Like, usually when I apply a blush this bright, it starts to come out patchy right away. Okay, sorry if anything looks different. I had to clear up some space on my phone and I got a little cold. Okay, so this blush, all of the Kimchi products actually have really mattified my skin. They were matte products, so I wasn't really expecting anything different. But because they are baked, I do find that they blended a lot easier than most powder products, especially of this intensity, do on my skin. This is very bright, so just taking the Paw Paw blender and bouncing over my cheeks, and it seems like that's working pretty well. It's getting a little patchy. Okay, this I am more comfortable with, but of course now that I've done, sometimes when you do blending and you go in with wet over dry, things can get a tiny bit patchy. My hyperpigmentation is starting to come through a little bit, but that's okay. We're just like experimenting with product. So against my better judgment, we are now going to go in with the, I think it's darker, the more warm, rosier shade. And with I'm using a highlighting brush actually from my Kitco, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of depth and brightness right kind of in the center. Okay, it's just turning very bright again. So I'm really on the fence because I love the color, but like, is this realistic for me for everyday use? I don't know. I do like a bright blush, so I feel like used with the correct brush and with a light hand, this could be a good shade for me to use all the time, but I'm not light-handed, so we'll see. These products by Milani I have been using, and they are amazing. They are the baked highlighters. This is the shade 110 Dolce Perla. Super duper pretty, light pink based highlight, and then I have Rosa Italiana. This on me comes off as more of a bronzer, but I love to glow, and I think this is like a great blush topper. So let's just put even more product on my cheeks. Using the same highlighter brush as before, and just look at that gorgeous glow. It's really, really not common for a highlighter to just show up this well on me, but not look, it looks a tiny bit metallic-y, but like mostly just smooth and sheeny. You know, everyone is so in love with the Pixie highlighters, and for some reason, those were not flattering on my skin. They just looked too metallic. And I love like a high shine highlighter, but this gives me that without looking too metallic. Let's take the 130 Rosa Italiana color, and I'm just going to take a little bit on this same brush, and towards the backs of my cheekbones where I would normally apply bronzer is where I'm going to use this as somewhat of a glowy blush topper. And I really love that I am just like absolutely beaming. Okay, we are very much getting somewhere. I am really liking this now that we've blended. For eyeshadow primer, I'm going to use the Milani eyeshadow primer. This primer is pretty translucent with a slight beigeness to it. It's nothing super pigmented at all. I'm gonna use the LA Girl Brow Bestie in the shade Black Brown. This is like my favorite quick drugstore brow pencil because it has a little bit of a wider tip, which isn't the best for precision, but for like speed, it does help. And Black Brown is a great name for it because nobody wants like Sharpie black eyebrows, but my brows are almost black. And if I use a brown, it looks too warm on my face. Now I'm gonna take my Got To Be Glued spiking hair gel, and I'm gonna use a tiny bit of that in my brows with a disposable spoolie. The eyeshadow palette is also a first impression, and it is the Wet n Wild Heart and Soul Color Icon palette. I love rosy tones. It's just been my thing. Okay, so I really hope this palette is good because the colors are gorgeous. Also just note that some of these are not intended for use around the eyes. If you're not aware, the FDA does not approve for use of some red pigments around the eyes, whereas like in Europe, they're typically approved, and for me, I've never had irritation from using non-eye safe pigments on my eyes. But anyways, just do that at your own discretion. So I'm gonna start off with this color right here. They don't have names, but this is like a rosy peach. And I'm going to start off by blending that in the crease. Oh my goodness, I really like it. That is blending beautifully. And it's really maintaining that rosy peachiness, whereas a lot of colors go dull on me pretty quick. That brush was a Delium Tools 785. I will have it linked down below. Now I'm going to go in with this deeper, it's like kind of like a mauvey chocolate. And this is also matte. And this is a Sigma E36, one of my, actually like my favorite blending brush. That's this size and shape. And I'm just deepening up the outer corner and the lash line. It's pigmented. This is, you know, giving me like a nice flattering eyeshadow look, I think. And very on theme for Valentine's Day because of the rosy tones. This is blending so beautifully. I am like very pleased. That same brush, I'm gonna take this brown color that's right on top of the one we just used, and I am going to use that on the lower lash line. Shimmers with this brush. It's hard to build up pigment, but wow, that is showing up. I love it. I'm going to start off with this color in the middle, which is like a pink. This color is not as pigmented. I'm sure if I used it with a base, it would be giving me more. So I'm gonna take the pencil brush and go back into this deeper shimmer that we used on the lower lash line, because that was really gorgeous. Actually gonna go back into the Milani highlighter in Dolce Perla with another little brush. This one's by Cosette. It's kind of like that Sigma one, but a little bit softer. And I am going to use this in my inner corner. It's so pretty. And I'm gonna go into my favorite drugstore lipstick at the moment. Totally a dupe for the NARS Audacious. This is the perfect color for me. If you have olive skin and you like a mauvey, rosy nude, this is perfect. This is the e.l.f. O-Face lipstick. I'm sorry, like, am I immature for thinking that that is ridiculous? In the shade Effortless. And it's just, I mean, it's totally trying to dupe NARS too, in my opinion, like, is what I think, because it has a similar soft touch magnetic packaging. It's called the O-Face lipstick, and like NARS has like some really suggestive names to their makeup as well. Compared to my eye look, actually, it's pulling off very cool toned. Right, so let's try and warm it up a little bit. This is Leslie Ann from Colored Rain. I put a little Hello Kitty bow sticker on it so I know that it's mine, because I have one for my kid as well, and I never want to mix them up because I use this directly on my lips. And this is just gorgeous. Like, wow. Okay, yeah. Yes, that adjusted the tone for what I wanted for this look. Perfect. It's like a very pigmented gloss. Okay, now another current favorite from the drugstore. This is ColourPop Ritz. Very similar to Urban Decay's Space Cowboy. Super shiny, and before it dries, it's a little bit sticky. So if you want to use a dry glimmer on top of it, you can, which is what I'm gonna do. And it just work best when tapped on the lid with a finger. I hope the camera's picking up how stunning that is and like what a lovely shine it adds to the whole look. It kind of has a sheer base, but the base is like slightly brown. And then this is a brand I've never heard talked about like ever, except for this one makeup artist I follow. This is the J. LaRue pigment in White Diamonds. I depotted it into a little shaker because the packaging it comes in was not doing it for me. It was a mess. White Diamonds is like the perfect name for it. It is so pretty. And I'm just gonna take that on my ring finger and just add a little bit of extra sparkle, or a lot of bit of extra sparkle. But this is what I like, okay? I am a sparkly gal, and I bring that into the crease a little bit. And we could put some on the brow bone too. Why not? Just what's left on my finger. Maybe a little bit here too. Oh my gosh, going nuts. This isn't available at the drugstore, but like, this is like $7, but I'm subscribed to her emails and they're like always on sale for $3. So definitely check out the J. LaRue pigments if you want something super special, super shiny, and something that you can just tap on top of your look to elevate it. Now I'm curling my lashes with my Ulta Beauty Japanese lash curler. This is a little expensive for drugstore, but so are the kimchi products, to be honest. The drugstore is not cheap like it was. I was looking at like these Revlon blushes that come in the most basic packaging and they're $15 a piece. And I was like, for Revlon, like I get the kimchi products being more expensive because they're like super cute. They come in like more custom packaging. But $15 for a Revlon blush, that kind of upset me. This isn't only my favorite drugstore mascara, this is my favorite mascara, period. Like, I've never tried one that I like better. This is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise in Blackest Black in the waterproof variety. I only use waterproof mascaras, and I think I've said this on my channel before, but waterproof mascaras hold a curl much better because they're oil-based. For me, a Valentine's Day look is not complete without lashes. So I am going to use Kiss. I believe they're called Jubilee. I will have it listed and linked down below. Use my favorite, the Duo Quick Set Glue. Gonna take my LA Girl eyeliner in black And I'm gonna put a little bit of black liner on my inner corner on the top lash line, just to basically make the lashes look like they're coming out of my actual eye. Because sometimes when the lash band stops, it can just look like really unnatural. And I just gave myself a little more bottom lash mascara to balance out those lashes because they actually look more dramatic on me than I remembered. And now that everything has come together, the blush is not looking so intense anymore. I kind of want to put on more, but I am going to exercise restraint. Or should I? I'm gonna be bad. So, oh my God, I'm gonna take a little more of the kimchi and I'm just gonna, oh, okay, now I feel good. And it kind of tied in the lip a little bit more as well because the eyes were starting to look a little warm. I'll just go back into the highlight and contour and grab the highlight shade, which actually like is looking really good on my skin. Like my skin does not look dry where I used this, but I'm just going to brighten up a little bit around the nose and under the eye. Okay, honestly, I really like the highlight side. It looks very good. Like it does not look chalky. If anything, because it's baked, it's like turning slightly luminous on my skin, which is what I wanted. All right, so this is the final look. I hope you like it as much as I do. I just love so many things about it. I might have gone with a slightly more natural lash now that I'm looking at it all together. Although when I added the J. LaRue pigment, it did kind of bring it to this more glamorous place. So the lashes, I'm not like so mad at them even. But yeah, otherwise I really love how this turned out. Like I love the rosiness, I love the sparkle, I love the glow. This is what I'm all about. I like to look wet and sunburned and like dipped in diamonds, and that is how I feel right now, and that's how I would want to feel on Valentine's Day. And all of these products were either from the drugstore or are very cheap. I will try to continue to update you all in future videos on how these products go for me, especially the kimchi ones, because I was like, you know, they weren't the easiest for me to use, except the highlighting powder I really, really like. It mattifies just enough and looks smooth on the skin, and it doesn't have like shimmer in it or anything, but looks a tiny bit luminous still. If you do want to keep up with what I'm using and like just more casual updates, please follow me on Instagram. It's at Sophie_the esthetician. And that's where I just give more casual updates on what I'm using, especially drugstore makeup, because I know that my followers really appreciate that. If you are not already subscribed, you can go ahead by clicking that red subscribe button down below and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss when I upload new videos. It's free and I would love to have you come back for more. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite part of this look is. Are you living for the blush, the sparkles, the highlighters? Let me know if you've tried any of these products or if you're planning on picking any of them up. I always love to know what intrigues you all the most. I hope you have a very happy Valentine's Day or Palentine's Day, whether you are celebrating with a partner, multiple partners, your friends, or celebrating yourself and your relationship with yourself. I hope you enjoy. I've had lipstick on my teeth this entire time and I am sorry, but not really. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.